Okay, tell all.
Tell all. Where am I? What's the do? Here we are. And a pile of windows open. Ooh. It's bright over there.
It's bright here today. It'll get dark in about an hour.
Blue skies over here.
Yeah, and bright reflections off that snow.
Yes. Well, the snow's disappearing. It rains Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, you're wearing your hoodie inside the house, so it can't be.
I always wear my hoodie.
We're in a I don't know, maybe 150-year-old house.
Wow.
And it was on the market for 160,000 euros.
Is that good?
Turns out to be about 180 US dollars. So what is that? About 200 Canadian dollars, $200?
Yeah, about 210, 220, somewhere in there.
Okay. And
is that good for France though?
Well, it's an old house, so we went in there and said, excuse me, there's no electricity, there's no plumbing, there's no heat. I'll give you half that.
No plumbing?
No, let's see. He got it for 60,000 euros, $85,000.
Wow.
And half the rooms have electricity. There's electricity in this room only because there's a 10-meter extension cord from the only room upstairs that has electricity.
Wow.
They have plumbing in the kitchen and the bathroom.
Well, that's good.
That's good. They've got a brand new boiler, except the radiators have not been
connected,
replaced since Napoleon was king.
Oh my God.
Even before he was emperor. I think they haven't been replaced since Napoleon was a corporal.
Oh Lordy. Which part of France is it?
It's you know where Bordeaux is?
Yes, I think so.
Southwest coastal.
Southwest. Okay, yes. Is that near Angers?
I don't know where that is. Angers? No, I don't know.
Angers is between Brittany and Paris.
No, I think I'm south of that. I'm about 5 hours drive in the 7 o'clock direction from Paris.
Okay, got it.
About an hour inland from the coast and about 3 hours from Spain.
That's not so bad.
And so anyway, while it's got a new boiler, it doesn't reach the radiators.
Jeez.
So there's some mornings when we get up, it's 11 degrees inside the house with the boilers on full.
Oh Lordy.
So, I've got my sweatshirt. Yesterday I had my sweatshirt in a 3 layers, and then I was still cold, so I put on my jacket.
So have you moved there permanently?
No, we're just here for 2 months, taking care of the house
2 months.
while our friends are away.
Okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah,
Just house sit.
It's sort of like camping out.
Camping, yeah.
Yeah, and if we're not careful, we're going to run out of the tank of the 9-liter tank of gas that runs the cooking stove. So we've got pretty much a campfire for heat and a camp stove for cooking. But
well, at least it's not a crazy winter over there.
Yeah, we sure are enjoying it. Okay, well, let's get you building a report. So share your screen.
Oh, how do I do that?
Across the bottom, there should be a menu where it says, you know, there's some kind of controls like
share.
There's a green thing that says share.
That one. Oh, look at that. There's a whole.
There you go. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, now bring up the folder that I shared with you.
Well.
Okay, and
I'll go to. This is the from Jim.
Yep, and then to Robert, and then the 24th of January, and download that combined reports master. Yep. Okay, is that it? Nope, that's not it. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, replace that, yep. Okay, bring that folder up again where you downloaded it.
Oh, the folder? Oh, I just opened the file.
Oh, what? Just open that file. Just open it. So the report we're going to do is the percentage of effective courses a leader led by quarter.
Percentage of effective courses leader led by quarter.
So for each quarter, we want to show the number of courses led, the number of effective, and the percentage effective.
Okay. Number of effective courses by quarter. So where is so by quarter.
All right. So are you? You should share that. Open that spreadsheet and share that. If you didn't share the desktop, you'll have to share that in the new window.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Share desktop or main screen. Main screen. Can you see it?
Yep, that's it. Okay, so this has macros, so you want to enable the macros. Okay, all right, so since this is a new report, add a new tab. Okay, so what are the columns that you want to show?
So the report is the number of effective courses by quarter, right? By leader. So I need leader. Courses. Yep. Leader quarter courses. Where is this?
And you want to show the number of effective courses.
Yeah, there's already a column in here for that, isn't there?
Well, you want to show a count. So yeah, there is something that's.
I got that, but there's already an actual
Yeah.
calculated field for, that's this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Let's see if I remember one of those.
Just go back to let's lay out your report first. Don't do a pivot table. Do not do a pivot table.
Right.
Because a pivot table of 3,000 rows by how many ever columns you selected, it already takes 35 seconds to calculate. You do not want to build a pivot table for this.
Hmm.
But let's do it the hard way, and then you can do a pivot table if it makes it easier for you. But let's just because most of the reports are done this way, rather than pivot tables, then I want to show you this way so that you can so how do you call it? Reverse engineer the reports, and then when you're building reports on your own, you can do it any way you want. Okay, but just go back to your sheet one. Just go back to your sheet one. Just you want to put in, so you've got leader, you've got quarter, you've got courses. You want to put in the effective courses.
Courses. Do that first. Yeah. Do we have to separate it out by CAP or CPC?
Yeah, because the rules are different for the two.
Oh. Wow, I'm so used to doing pivot tables. Some of these people are gone, right? How many years do you want to do?
Well, that would be one of the questions. Suppose they wanted it for all the leaders for all the years. I mean, there are probably only two choices. One is all the leaders for all the years, and the other one is leaders who are currently leading.
Is there a tab here or a column that says current?
There's a list of current. If you look way over on the left of the tabs, the bright blue ones, there's one called CLB.
Current leaders.
Yeah, those are the current leaders. You're not at column A yet, so that's why it looks a little funny.
Joy. Oh, this is going to take a while. What's this number here?
I don't know. Oh, it's match of N5 in B. So it's an index to the column B.
Hmm. Region sequence. Okay. Leader status. Do I go vertical or do I go horizontal? So graphing it and vertical. There's going to be a chart or a graph.
Just numbers.
So a table.
Yeah, just a table. Oh, well, let's start simple, okay? Let's just start simple, okay? Let's just, for the leaders and a year, let's just get the number of courses that they led in that year. So let's say 2018. So let's just say for each leader, we want to find out how many courses they led in 2018.
In 2010?
Say 2018.
18?
Yeah, last year, 2018.
All right. 20. So that would be count if and then I need by quarter.
Let's just start with the number of courses a leader led in 2018.
So whether it's effective or not?
Whether it's effective or not, let's do part of it. So for 2018.
So that's just counting 2018. Wasn't that on the calendar?
Well, that shows how many they led in 2018 if we had the whole calendar. But for 2000, if you were to do 2019, it would also show courses in the future, which changes. You know, they could pick up an extra course or trade with somebody or something. So you're better off not using the calendar for course results. You're better off using the courses tab for calendar results. I mean, if you wanted to see how many courses have somebody scheduled for,
It's multiple, isn't it? I put tables. 22. There we go. Here's courses leader. Perfect. Nope, that's what. Courses per year, per year. So, what's missing?
You can see the bottom of your screen. Do you have, you have you should use either, you shouldn't use that one because he hasn't led since 2005 or 2010 or something. But EST or DOE or BRO, yeah, there you go. What, you just have calculation off?
Yep.
Okay. You pressing F9 to calculate?
Yep.
Okay.
Forgot about that.
Okay. Suppose you were going to separate that into access to power and power to create. How would you separate Elliott's 12 courses in 2018 to the number of, so leave the courses 12, now next to put the number of access to power.
This whole table should be in a database. Hold on, I gotta take this. One sec.
Okay.
Hello. Here. No, just on a conference call. Making sure everything's all right. What's up? Right, yes. Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll talk to you later today. Thanks. Bye. Ugh, it's Dawn.
Okay.
That was my friend's wife.
Let me just give you a hint here, okay? Whether or not you find,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you fine. Sorry, motorcycle outside.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me? I'm still here. My microphone's working.
Can't hear you.
Let me just turn on chat.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm not muted. I'm not muted.
Oh, there it is. I figured it out.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
I never lost you.
No, oh, you know what it is? F9 is the turn off the sound key.
As long as you hit it an even number of times, you're good.
I'm good, yeah.
Okay. Let me just, okay, so I like the way you're thinking, all right? But let me just give you one thing that saved my ass a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I did a new report, while there was many times columns that I could use,
Right.
I almost always put a new column in. Now, when you own this file and you've had a chance to really get used to it, you may find a simpler way to do it. But because the requirements for each individual report end up having a life of their own, if I borrow columns from previous reports, I can't change them.
Right.
FY has the leader and the year of that course, right?
Yeah.
However, you can't change that to put the course type in there.
Right.
You can't have, BRO 2018 CAP in that column because you don't know what other report references that column that you just broke. Because the other column is not expecting to find the course type in that column.
No, and I got that. So basically, after scanning these columns, if I didn't find column FY, I would just create it.
Yeah,
Or,
but even if you found a column called FY,
but if it didn't have what I wanted, I would just create a whole new column. I wouldn't actually change one of these.
but even if it had, I'm just saying, you can do it however you want, Robert, but
Yeah.
even if it has what you want, suppose you found FY and then Zoe said, no, I don't want the total number of courses. I want the total number of access to power and the power to create. FY no longer works and you can't change it.
Right. I would create a new column. If a column doesn't exist that has what I want, I would create that new column. But I'm not going to duplicate a column just for the sake of a report.
Okay. However,
I would just make it a policy that I don't change columns.
okay, and I had a policy where I have adjacent columns used for the same report, so that I'm not trying to look through 400 columns to find out what I'm using. So like if I use FY and Zoe changes the requirement to say I want them separated by access to power and power to create, I can't change FY, so I put it over somewhere else. However, if I start out making a column with what I need, I can do anything I want with that column without fear of breaking anything. Now,
right, then what's missing is highlighting like this, that this is one report.
yeah, so if you go through,
That's another report.
maybe one thing you do, and when you get good with macros, it's something that I did once. I inherited this file. I wrote this macro which went through each column of the used area of each sheet and grabbed the formula and stuck the formula in a new sheet spelled out, and then I could find out what reports used which columns. I parsed for the exclamation point and then found what was next to it, and then it took some work. But at one time years ago, I had an index which said this column is used by these reports, but I found that I couldn't use that. That was not any use because I still couldn't change a column. Even if I knew that it wasn't used by anything else, I now have two different reports using the same column, and I couldn't change that column for either report. And I would lose track of what report was using which column, so I never knew, is this column used by just one report, or is it used by 12 reports, or is it not used at all? So that's why, just for my own sanity, anytime I did a new report, at least for a while, you may want to, here's a column that I can use for anything that I need. Like if you had started out with a new column with leader year, and then Zoe said, well, I want leader course year, you could change that column in an instant rather than looking for another column that fit. Or you could, and if she said, now I want it by quarter, you could again change that column, knowing you weren't going to break anything else, rather than trying to find another column. And some columns are year, leader, course, and other columns it's course, year, something else, region. So there was no rules in place for what order things come in. Is it always year before leader, or leader before year, or it's just the level of insanity active at the time that report was built. But again, I'm not trying to make it difficult for you, but I fell into trouble a couple of times by trying to reuse a column, and that's why it's got 400 columns. Now, if you know a way to convert that to a database where you can write SQL-like commands in Excel to extract the vector of values that you want, that would make things so simple. And for a while, we were trying to get a team together to convert this spreadsheet-based thing into a database, AWS or some online database where we could issue commands, or an Access database, with Excel reports extracted from it, or something. But because the selection language of Excel is not at all like a database, you really, you have count if, sum if, and some product are the three verbs that you have. And you have to use index and match to get the value. You can't say, return the number of in areas for all, the sum of all the in area for all the courses Becky led in Chicago. You've got to do
You can do array functions in Excel. They're just a pain in the ass.
yeah, and they're really difficult to debug.
Yeah.
That's why you'll find index match. The worst it gets in this spreadsheet is a sum across an offset.
Mm.
An offset will return a vector, and you can sum across that array, that rows and columns thing. But anyway, back to the report. You could use the FY if you want, but as soon as she changes the parameters on you, you have to find another column or add one. And then you could just never, anyway.
Where does the new column start? Because I'm seeing headings here, like that doesn't have a heading and this doesn't have any data. So where do I start a new column?
I don't know where it is, at the IA or IJ or something. I can't see your screen anymore, so.
You can't?
No.
Share main screen?
There you go. Yeah, H.
So,
IG is the last one.
So what's this?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I imagine it's not used.
Okay, well, let's see if it breaks. So what's this column used for?
Just go down and look at the formula. Let me just see what it is. Just go down one column. Just go down one row. Let me see the formula.
It's just the date.
Just a date. I don't know
what the date refers to.
Oh, it's a number. Oh, it's the week. Oh, okay. It's A, B, C, D, E. F is the evening session plus 6 minus the weekday. So that's the Friday of the. That's the evening session. So that's Thursday. That's a Wednesday. That's a Wednesday date. I don't know that it's used. It looks like it's a broken formula. Yeah, it's using the wrong row.
5,000.
Yeah. Change that 5805 to 1841. 1841. Yeah, put center on that. Yeah, that's the Friday date of the week. Yeah, if you do a calculate on that, it'll show you the Friday date.
Spreads.
Some of those are just numbers because
Reduces the calculation, yeah.
the calculation for courses that have already happened and won't change.
Number 6. So this should have calculated. Nope.
Yeah, so that's what that is. That's the Friday. That's the end of the week Friday.
Meter course, year, quarter.
Take the effective off that. I'll show you a simple way to do that one. Just to do the leader course. So the leader is C. And the course is D. And the year is G. And the quarter is H. How did you get it to fill so fast?
Double click on this.
Oh, okay.
And it'll go right down. And then
Okay.
just,
Then you do your F9 twice. There you go. All right. Now go over to your column F. Just way over to the left. Just go way over to your left. You're way over on the right hand side. There's a column that's 0 or 1 for if it's effective. So you can do a sum. You can do a count if on IH, but you can do a sum if for the effective. So just arrow to the right. So just take a look at some of the columns. Okay, FG. It'll be past Z. It'll be past AA. You're looking for one that's just got 0 and 1 in the column.
Was it further over?
Yeah, just keep going.
Binary effective?
Yeah, that's it, binary effective BT. So you can do a sum on that. That is one that I do reuse. So I violate the rule, but it's just that I do a count if on the IH, the index, and then I can do a sum if on the same formula I used on the count if for that.
Okay.
Just dump it in that, yeah. Just stick it on there, yeah. So it was IH, liter, course, year, quarter.
Okay. Some of these don't have a quarter. Oh, there it is. So,
What are you working on now?
I'm trying to see who's got, if everybody fits a complete data set. So,
Some people some people don't lead during a quarter. Some people lead more than once during a quarter. Some weren't leading at the time. Some people went off on maternity leave for 6 months.
So let's see. Oh shit, it's backwards. Can't remember if this needs to be in right, left, or left, right.
Which column are you looking for?
BT, but I need BT on the other side.
Yeah, so you need to do the count, sum if the IH column.
Oh, this is binary.
You have to be careful with that one because the column it's looking at was a relative column in the column.
Right.
So you need to change that column not from GU but to the original AF.
Oh, so is AF.
Yeah. IH. Click on that. Click on one of those formulas. Just click on the formula bar. Yeah.
Courses. That's our main data set.
Except for one thing, you haven't counted the number of courses.
All right.
So that one you're on, the ANA CAP 2012 quarter 3, there's one effective course, but is that 1 out of 1 or 1 out of 5?
Right. So this is here we go. So we have the course count by quarter, by person. And so you just want a table?
Well, how would you, if she just gave you the instruction, I'd like to be able to see the number of courses and the number of effective courses and a percentage.
And a percentage.
Yeah, so the percentage is easy, but how would you display that for?
Does she want to see all of them at the same time?
Yeah, how might she use that? I mean, you've got a lot of experience with data analysis. What might she be looking for?
Well, that's what I would ask her.
Yeah. Okay. Suppose she said, okay, I just want to see are people getting better or staying the same, getting worse?
People getting better, or they getting worse? So then we would need. So we need a trend line, so I'd need to see them. I'd be that person. Okay, so to have a graph with all of these people would be, well, I still need leader status, because if they are not leading, I don't want to see them.
Well, what you can do is go to that CLB tab, the bright blue one. In those, that'll always have your current
Right.
leaders.
I mean, here's the thing. This I have no problem with. Like, I can build anything you want.
Cool.
Like, for real. Like, that's not a problem. And it would, and how I would actually build this would be a conversation with either Nancy or Zoe or whoever the requester is.
Yep.
Right? Because however they actually want to see the data, that's how I would build it for them. Yep. And how I would build it, how they want to see it really depends on how that, I mean, because I could do a whole pile of things, right?
Yeah.
I can insert, where am I? That's odd. Where did that go? Series slices are fun. Where is my code? So used to a different version, older version of Excel.
It just reminds me of one of my, I don't know where I picked up the quote. It says, don't reinvent the wheel. However, if people didn't reinvent the wheel, they'd still be made out of stone.
Exactly. But here's the thing.
So while we get used to an old version, stop improving it. Well,
Yeah. Well, no.
improving it.
Well, I usually just going on Google and say where'd they move this friggin' function. And then here we go. And then I find out data. Oh, that's right. Hello, that's what I want. So, I'll find it later. New computer. I just reinstalled everything on this.
Yeah, I've done
So
that.
I'm gonna have to customize my toolbars. Yeah. It's not done. There's the trip. Search function. I was bringing back memories. This is the developer tab. I'll have to figure out where that is now residing. Oh. I mean, I could create drop downs here where they select what they want.
Cool.
And it'll create the table, and then it'll populate the graph for them.
Okay.
For that person. I mean, like the options are pretty much limitless.
All right, good. All right. Well, what I might do is I might tell Nancy to toss you a report to do.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, cover you with chum and throw you in the pool with the sharks. The deep end. And you know, I'm always available by email, or we can do it on one of our calls. But I would like to get you as quickly as possible struggling, for lack of a better way to say it. I'd like you to, you know, grapple with the data.
Yeah, building the report isn't the problem. It's just really understanding what the people want.
Yeah, right. All right, so click back on your courses tab. So really your columns A through Z are the main columns of data. Those are really the only ones that we get from World Headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is a calculation to select various combinations of courses, leaders, dates, regions, years, quarters, effective or not, met this measure or not, average of this location or average of this leader or average of this whatever. So there's a lot of there's probably a lot of fluff in there, but there's also, you know, it's not very robust. So that's why I've always hesitated to reuse a column. It's just that it won't tolerate much.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
it's not self-correcting. Let me just show you a couple of strange ones. Let's click on that future schedule tab. Okay. All that is, it's a list of courses by week, by type. Okay, so somebody in headquarters wants to see where the courses are each week for, you know, each week.
Each week of the year. But isn't this, don't they already have this in one of those calendar reports you showed me yesterday, one of those extracted reports?
Exactly, but this is the way they wanted to see it. Okay. And
right.
it's got to be flexible enough so that when the calendar changes, you know, they add a course or delete a course, this thing adapts. So that's why what you're looking at is column E.
Yeah.
And if you look at just click on any of the values, that's a relatively complicated formula to get something out of a calendar. And that the Joan work, if you take a look at it, just look at row 152. Row 152, August 4th. So for access to power, there are 7 of them.
Yeah.
And the 7 of them are listed with the city name and the evening session day abbreviation. And there are no power to create, so row 156 is blank. But if you look at 157, on the 11th of August, there are 3 access to power: Montreal, South Plains, and Phoenix. And 1 power to create in Chennai. And where it's a location and not a center, in parentheses is the center name. So Portland, you know, you just went, you know, in 166, Portland is a location out of the Seattle office. Okay, so those formulas are fairly complicated, but it's robust. So when the calendar changes, these things adapt. The other thing you'll notice is that the locations are in alphabetical order. You know, so Bangkok, Denver, Houston, London, Minneapolis, New York, and Perth, those are in alphabetical order by city name. And if you take a look at that formula, what it does is it does an index on the calendar AN based on the access to power, you know, 1 through 7.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Just go to that Bangkok. So the first part is if the column of A54 is greater than B153, then it's blank. So, you know, if I've done my last course, then put blanks. Otherwise, go to the calendar column AN and go down the number of rows where you've found A154, which is A154 is the 4th of August, CAPE, and column number 1 in column AJ. So that's dependent on the calendar column AJ having a sequential number for the CAPE for that weekend. So if you go to calendar AJ, see how it's got the day serial and then CAPE 1, 2, and 3, right? Okay, see how that works? It's giving the sequence number of the 1, 2, 3 for the CAP 43120 CAPE. It's counting those from the top of the from the top to that row.
Mm-hmm.
When I go down to the next row, you know, row 11, I get a 2 because it's now counting. It's finding a match in the one above. So that's. So if you go back to that, Joan Work tab, the alphabetation. How do I say that?
Alphabetized.
Yeah, the alphabetation, whatever it is. The fact that that's in alphabetical order is dependent on the calendar being sorted in alphabetical order. Can you see that?
Sort.
So if you were to sort that on, you know, just click on B. Just click on B. That, yeah, and just click. There's a down arrow that, you know, that filter. Just sort Z to A. Okay, now go back to the Joan work and recalculate that. Recalculate that. Did it recalculate?
It's working on it.
Okay. Because I'm thinking that'll make it go from Perth to Bangkok rather than Bangkok to Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Perth to Bangkok. So the order of those things is dependent on the sorting of the courses tab.
And how should you mean the calendar tab?
Sorry, the sorting of the calendar tab.
And the calendar tab should be sorted by, ultimately by what?
It should it should be day, and within day course type, and then within course type location. Okay. And if you take a look at the save small macro, there's a sort of the calendar to put it in that order.
That didn't work. Because I've got. All right.
Well, you have to recalculate. You resorted, but you have to recalculate.
No, all right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a statement in the save small macro that forces that calendar to be sorted in the right order, so that that Joan work tab and therefore the future schedule tab have it Bangkok to Perth rather than Perth to Bangkok.
Right.
So while most of the reverse engineering that you'll do are pretty apparent, there are some places where it makes some assumptions, and there aren't very many of them, but it makes some assumptions on where things are sorted.
Mm-hmm. So this is okay. Do course location. So, okay, got it.
Okay.
It's this year, let's see. Cool.
Okay. Now, there's also some fairly complicated conditional highlighting on that. If you notice that the CAPE and the CPC plus are underlined with no background color, where the dates are not underlined but bold and no background color, and there's one blank line underneath. You know, that's all dynamically adjusted. So while it looks like a relatively simple report,
Yeah.
the what goes on in the background of that is pretty nasty.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Were you able to run the save smalls on the files this week?
Pardon? Say that again?
I shared with you the 6 files that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, I was tinkering with those this morning.
Did you run the save smalls?
Dropbox, where Dropbox go? No.
All right, well, make sure you do that between now and the next call, and then we'll start working on the macros.
Right. The video for the last call, do you have that?
I had trouble uploading that one, so I'll upload it again. So you should have it. You should have it again by today's Friday. It'll be done by the end of tomorrow.
It doesn't need to be on YouTube. Just upload it to Dropbox.
Except I've got a limited storage on Dropbox, and if I save the videos on Dropbox, then I lose. They start asking me to pay money.
Got it. Then send it by. You're on Gmail, right?
Yeah, I'll figure. I'll put them either on somewhere where you got them, but I'll make sure that by the end of this time tomorrow, they'll be available to you.
Because I don't leave them on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah.
I have software that downloads videos from YouTube.
Okay, fine. Okay.
So I just I'll be keeping all those videos on my hard drive in a folder.
Okay, fine. All right, fine. All right. Well, I'll make sure they're available to you this time tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll let Nancy know that you're ready for your first report, and we'll coach you with chum and throw you in the pool.
Yeah. Tell her to throw me something. And,
all right, Robert. I am really pleased with how you're doing on this. So really, really great.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Sure. All right, dude. Have a great weekend. We'll talk on Wednesday. And
you bet.
Hear back from Nancy. She's leading this weekend, so she may not give us anything to do until Monday. But run the save smalls on the leader, the management, the calendar, and the combined. I'll send you an email listing those. Run the save small and see what you get. Come with questions, and we'll start working on macros next week.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Later.